You stand up for just a second, and your dog instantly gets up too. You walk into another room, and there they are, right behind you. You turn around, and they are already watching. First, it feels cute, almost comforting, like you have a loyal shadow that never leaves your side. But then it starts to feel a little strange. Why do they follow you everywhere? Not sometimes, not occasionally, everywhere. Even when there is no food involved, no walk, no obvious reason at all. Most people think they understand this behavior, but they do not. Because what your dog is actually doing is much deeper than simple loyalty. And once you see it, you will not look at your dog the same way again. You will understand later. Because this behavior is not just about following you. It is about what you represent. It starts in moments so small, most people ignore them. You get up quietly from your chair. No sudden movement, no sound, just a shift in your body. And somehow, your dog notices. Their ears twitch slightly. Their eyes open just a bit. And before you have even taken your second step, they are already moving. Most owners laugh it off. They are just clingy. They are obsessed with me. They do not like being alone. But here is what most people miss. Dogs do not follow randomly. They follow with intention. And that intention comes from something wired deep inside them. It is not just habit, it is awareness. See, in the wild, movement means something. When the leader moves, it matters. When the group shifts, it matters. Stillness is safety. Movement is information. So when you stand up, your dog does not just see movement. They read it. Where are you going? Is something changing? Should I be ready? You might think you are just walking to the kitchen. But to your dog, you have just signaled a possible shift in the environment. And they do not want to miss it. Not because they are needy, but because you are their reference point. Now here is where it gets more interesting. Imagine this. You are walking through your home, and your dog follows you like always. You stop suddenly. They stop too. You turn. They adjust instantly. You do not say a word, and yet it feels like they are connected to you. Almost like they are reading you. Because in a way, they are. Dogs are masters of micro-signals. Your breathing, your posture, the direction of your eyes, the tension in your shoulders. All of it tells a story. And your dog is constantly listening. Not with ears alone, but with their entire body. So when they follow you, it is not just physical. It is psychological alignment. But here is the part that most people completely misunderstand. They think this behavior means their dog is dependent, weak, unable to function alone. But in many cases, it is the opposite. It is trust. Deep, instinctive trust. Because your dog believes something very specific. Where you go is where safety goes. And that belief does not form overnight. It builds over time. Every time you feed them, every time you protect them, every time you guide them through something unfamiliar, you become more than just a person. You become their anchor. And anchors are meant to be followed. But not every dog follows for the same reason. And this is where things get even more subtle. Because sometimes, following is not just about trust. Sometimes, it is about uncertainty. Picture this. You leave the room, and your dog hesitates for a second before following. Not instantly, not confidently. There is a slight pause, a tiny moment of decision, and then they come after you. That hesitation matters, because it tells you something is different. This is not just natural tracking behavior. This is emotional checking. Dogs that feel unsure about their environment tend to stay closer. Not because they love more, but because they feel less secure without proximity. And here is what makes it tricky. On the surface, it looks exactly the same. They still follow you. They still stay close. But internally, the reason is completely different. One dog follows because they trust you as a leader. Another follows because they do not feel safe without you. Same action, different meaning. And most people never notice the difference. But here is what separates them. Watch their body language. A confident follower moves freely. Relaxed tail, soft eyes, natural pace. They follow, but they are not tense. An uncertain follower, their movement feels tighter, more alert, more dependent on your exact position. They are not just following, they are monitoring. This brings us to something even deeper. Because sometimes, your dog is not just following you, they are watching over you. It sounds strange, but think about it. There are moments when your dog positions themselves in very specific ways, between you and a doorway, beside you when you are still, alert when you are distracted. Most people interpret this as coincidence, but it is not. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to vulnerability, and when they bond with you deeply, start to take on a subtle protective role. Not aggressive, not reactive, just aware. You might not even notice it, but your dog does. Every unfamiliar sound, every shift in energy, every unexpected movement, and instead of running away, they stay close. Because in their mind, staying close means staying ready. But here is what most people miss. Protection does not always look dramatic. Sometimes, it looks like quiet presence. Just being there, watching, following. Now let us flip this completely. Because there is one more reason dogs follow you that almost no one talks about. Routine. Not emotional, not instinctual, but learned. Dog has watched you long enough to understand patterns. When you go to the kitchen, something usually happens. When you head to the door, it might mean a walk. When you pick up certain objects, it signals activity. And over time, they start connecting your movement to outcomes. So they follow, not because of you, but because of what might happen next. This is where things get subtle. Because even though it feels like emotional attachment, part of it is prediction. Your dog is thinking, if I stay close, I will not miss anything. And honestly, they are not wrong. Because most of the time, something does happen. A treat, a walk, a moment of interaction. So the behavior gets reinforced again and again. But here is the twist. Even when nothing happens, they still follow. Because now it has become a loop. Movement equals possibility. And possibility is worth following. Now let us come back to something we touched on earlier. That feeling that your dog is always watching you. Because this is where everything connects. Trust, awareness, uncertainty, routine, protection. They all lead to the same behavior. Following, but the meaning behind it. That is what changes everything. Because when your dog follows you, they are not just reacting. They are interpreting. They are responding to who you are in their world. And that role is bigger than most people realize. You are their reference point, their signal, their safety, their routine, their connection to everything they understand. So when they get up and follow you, it is not random. It is not meaningless. It is a reflection of how they see you, and maybe how much they rely on you. And here is something worth thinking about. If one day your dog stopped following you completely, would that feel normal? Or would something feel missing? Because for many people, that quiet presence, that soft sound of paws behind them, that constant, silent companionship, becomes part of their life, something they do not notice until it is gone. So the next time your dog follows you into another room, do not just see it as a habit or a quirk. Pause for a second, look at them, notice their eyes, their movement, their energy, because in that simple act, they are telling you something, not with words, but with behavior. And once you truly understand it, you do not just see a dog following you anymore. You see a bond. One that is built on trust, awareness, and connection in ways most people never take the time to understand. And that is the part you were meant to see all along.